I'm Bruce Fenton. I'm signing this historical vehicle. I remember when Rousa bought this back, 2012 or 13 or something like that?
13.
13. I remember this car well, and so it's a real pleasure to be throwing my signature on here.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Doing well. How does it feel to sit in the car?
This is the Bitcoin car.
This
It's
is
great.
the Bitcoin car.
I love pieces of Bitcoin history, and this is an important one.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest ones.
It certainly is.
In a couple ways.
Yeah, for sure. So for those that don't know you, if you don't mind introducing yourself?
Sure. My name is Bruce Fenton. I've been in Bitcoin for a little more than 10 years now, full-time since 2013. And I'm here at the Miami conference. There's been a couple iterations of this conference. This is the 10th one I've gone to.
Wow.
So every year for 10 years, which is a great marker to see how everything has changed. And this year's no different.
I can imagine, yeah. I can imagine it's a big difference from year 1 to year 10, huh?
For sure, yeah.
So, Bruce, if you don't mind me asking, what do you think is your biggest contribution to Bitcoin?
My biggest contribution to Bitcoin, I would say, is connecting people. I'm really proud of that. I've hosted a cool event that's going to be in its 10th year now, because it's called the Satoshi Roundtable, and it's had a who's who of OGs, including the owner of this car, the original owner, and you name it. Everybody from Brian Armstrong to Adam Back to Vitalik to CZ. We've had a lot of great folks. And I'm proud of that event, because we've connected a lot of people. I don't know how to code, I'm not a developer, but that is one way that I'm glad that I've contributed, because I've introduced a lot of people and made a lot of friends and introduced friends to other friends, and a lot of them have started businesses together, invested in each other, and there's probably a lot of jobs and businesses that have come out of those connections, and that's fun. What's cooler than just introducing new friends to other friends?
Colliding worlds is what I like to do as well.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really cool. Is there anything that you're currently working on that you'd like to tell people?
We do a lot. I'm really interested in securities. I come from the securities business. It sounds boring because we mostly associate securities with regulation, but securities means equity. It includes equity, and equity in stocks is great. It's one of the greatest inventions in the history of economics, and it's a wonderful way to share risk. And so I'm a big believer in stocks, and stocks haven't changed much in 400 years, really, and especially in the last 80 years. Yeah. So if we can make stocks better and make them work with Bitcoin in a Bitcoin world, using distributed ledgers, I think if you make stocks work better, you make the whole economy work better, you make the world better. And so I'm interested in that. I'm also interested in emerging markets, like the Middle East, kind of bringing this technology to the world. So
I think one of the big overarching conversations this year is remittance.
Yeah.
How truly transformational it is for a lot of countries to be going through that changeover to Bitcoin right now.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, and especially there's a lot of countries where, we talk often about the big players with the top 10 currencies, but there's a whole bunch there's another 100 countries behind that. Certainly. Where it's much easier and feasible for them to move to a Bitcoin standard. So I hope to see a lot of these smaller countries that currently have their currency pegged, or they have their own currency that's really weak. A country with a weak currency could switch over to Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden they have a strong currency.
Absolutely.
And they don't have to do it all at once. They could do part of it, or they could have a basket. They could say this one's half backed by Bitcoin, and they can still issue their fiat notes or whatever, and put Bitcoin in a vault somewhere, like we used to with the Federal Reserve. Our money used to be backed by gold. Now it's backed by nothing. So I'd like to see that. That would be cool if more countries did that.
I agree. I agree.
It helps world peace.
Yeah, for sure. So if you had to say, what is the most interesting or the most expensive thing that you purchased with Bitcoin?
Interesting or expensive? Oh, that's a good one. Well, obviously the further back you go,
the more the
word. I bought a meal here for 9 Bitcoin. But the funny thing is, it was just like 4 burritos. It wasn't like it was some big, one of these big fancy dinners.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people spending 9 Bitcoin now, but this was not what 9 Bitcoin today. It was just, and there's other things like that. There's a couple startups that I threw some Bitcoin at that I wish I didn't. So those would probably be some of the worst. I like to I mean, it's really fun. I love being here and having the wallet. I still, to this day, after all these years, I just bought a Bitcoin sculpture over at one of these vendors here. And even to this day, I still have this like cool factor feeling. I pull out my wallet because you don't do it that much in the regular world. I pull out my wallet, and I knew they were going to accept Bitcoin because they're here and they're selling a Bitcoin logo. So
you'd hope so, at least.
So it actually helped my purchase. If that would have been a credit card thing, I don't think I would have bought it. But I'm walking by, I'm like, that thing's cool, and they say we ship it, and I'm like, done. Boom, boop. 2 seconds later, and give them my address, and that thing's going to arrive when I get home. So
that's awesome.
So those kind of things are fun. You know, anything fun. Every once in a while, I'm a big geek, so I'll reward myself with, you know, some kind of comic book sculpture or something like that. Cool. You know, so but Bitcoin's been good to me, and it's been fun too. You know, it's been fun to be part of the Bitcoin world.
Fun. This is the only convention, the only professional space I've ever been in that has the style and the vibe that this does.
Yeah,
it's really great.
It's something
so welcoming,
and the people are the people are what's magic. It's the craziest, most eclectic group of geniuses, lovable folks, a-holes, characters, comedians. I mean, did you see what we just had on the stage? We just had a presidential candidate of the United States, for the United States of America, leave the stage, and then the people walking on the stage as he was walking on were 2 guys in wizard costumes, a guy with a mask, you know, and an OG who's been around forever, and a developer who's one of the top 8 or 10 commits in Bitcoin. You know, like where else would you ever see that? I wouldn't trade that for the world.
I agree. I feel the same exact way.
I've said many times to my good friends in this space, I say, you know, Bitcoin, well, we used to say this more because it was more of a concern, you know, Bitcoin a binary play. Mm-hmm. Now it's less likely to go to zero, but even if it went to $1, you know, back in the day, we used to say, you know, we're still going to get together. We're still going to talk about it. And if it goes to $1, I'm going to buy some, you know, for old time's sake, to remember the day.
Posterity.
And I'll put those on a wallet, and I'll have my own collectible. And I actually said that one time in a tweet, and Adam Back says, "Well, I'll bid $2." You know, so you know, it's a good space and a good technology. Absolutely. You know, fun, a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So, if you were the winner of this car, and you auctioned, or you win the auction, what would you do with it? Is this your daily driver? Is this going? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, why not? Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it makes a perfect daily driver, and then. This is a piece of history. This car should be around forever.
Yeah,
and someday, it sounds crazy, but this will probably be in a museum.
Yeah,
you know, somebody's going to buy this, and you could drive. I'd probably drive it around for a few years, and then maybe you know, mothball it somewhere. Put it up on whatever you got to do. Put it up on bricks and drain the oil. Exactly. Does this have oil?
It does. It does. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does. I don't think it's fully electric. I think it's a gas hybrid.
I think so. Yeah, and then I would. Just make it part of the history. There's going to be some Bitcoin museums. You know, I know there's some people working on that. This belongs in that. So someday, this is a piece of history that's going to be around someday. It's kind of the ultimate collectible.
Absolutely.
As well as a nice daily driver.
Yeah, it's very reasonable on gas too.
I like it. Save more money for sats.
So there you go. There you go. Cool. What do you think it's going to go for?
Hopefully 9 Bitcoin. That sounds like a good number, right?
That sounds like a decent number. Absolutely.
I like it.
It's better than 4 burritos.
That's right. That's right.
Anything else you'd like to say to the folks out there?
You know, pursue freedom. This Bitcoin is political, and it always has been from its earliest days, and it's about freedom and liberty, and that makes some people uncomfortable, but it shouldn't, because if you like Bitcoin, you should like liberty and freedom. Absolutely. And embrace that, and we should do that in everything we do in our daily interactions in politics. We should just always encourage voluntary interaction. Let people do what they want. Let people control their own body, control their own commerce, control their own transactions between each other. And that, to me, that's what Bitcoin is all about. That's what got me into it, and I think that's a core ethos that we can't emphasize enough.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Awesome.
Bruce, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was great.
Thank you.